Hi guys, it's Mrs. Page again. It now should be Wednesday and we are going over what you did on Tuesday. So Module 5, Lesson 9. Now this time we're dividing. And in fractions, when you divide, you are actually making groups. You do that in division, but in multiplication, in division of fractions, when you make those groups, you get less groups and the groups get bigger. So let's take a look at the example here. So the original fraction was 2/4. So we're going to ignore these little ovals here. And you should look at this picture like you've got a whole here with 4 parts. And 2 of those parts are shaded. So in division of fractions, you're now going to look at that 2/4 and I want to divide it by 2. So what that means is I want to take my 2/4 and divide it into groups of 2. So when I do that, I have a group of 2 right here, and I have a group of 2 right here. Now, how many groups of 2 do you have? You have 2 groups of 2. That's where that 2 comes from, that denominator. How many parts in your whole? How many groups in your whole? And now the shaded part is 1 group shaded out of 2. So that's what that means. Let's go over here to letter B, okay? So we're going to look at our whole right here. And we have, oops, hold on. We have 6 parts in our whole, this whole box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when we look at it as 6 parts, 3 are shaded. Now what I want to do is I want to look at 3, 6. Now I could divide this by a few numbers, but for the case of what you see here, we're going to take our 3/6 and we're going to divide it into groups of 3. I could do groups of 2, but right now I'm just doing groups of 3. So I'm going to divide it into groups of 3. So I'm going to take my pencil and circle groups of 3. There's one group of 3 and another group of 3. And when I do that, now how many total groups do I have? I have 2 total groups. And how many groups are shaded? 1. So now this 1/2 matches the picture you see here as if these black lines did not exist. All right, let's do one more on this page. So let's see, our whole big picture here is showing 8 parts. And of the 8 parts, 4 are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm going to show that 4/8 is also equal to another fraction. So now, I'm going to take my 4/8 and divide it into groups of 4. 4, 4. I'm going to divide it into groups of 4. So I will get less groups and the groups will get bigger. So when let's see. So rather than having 8 groups, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a group of 4 and there's a group of 4. So when I do that, oops, I am showing a total of 2 groups, 1, 2, and 1 of these groups is shaded. All right, let's do another one on the next page. Oops, I've already done some of them. Okay, same thing up here. You're going to show that this first picture is 6 parts, and of the 6 parts, 2 are shaded. Now I'm going to take my 6 parts and group them into groups of 2. So I'm dividing by 2. And when I do that, I get less parts. I only have 3 parts. Only one of the parts is shaded. So down here, the big concept to remember is that when you are dividing, the size of the fractional unit got bigger. So see here how we had a very small part right here? when we divided, it got bigger. So the pieces get bigger, and because the pieces get bigger, the total number of units got smaller. So I've got 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. So I have 3 units, whereas before I divided, I had 6 units. So the parts get bigger, but the number of parts, the number of units get smaller. So that is division of fractions.